Welcome everyone to the Kavaler Award 2020, honoring Saudi Aramco's Amin Nasser. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Dr. Roland Stefandl with the Chemist Club located here in New York City. This year gives us some unique challenges. The 8th year of the award, 2020, is due to COVID being done remotely. In the past, we've had black tie gala affairs in Manhattan, and everyone came and celebrated jointly in a huge social gathering at the Metropolitan Club. And we hope for 2021 we can do that once again. First, I'd like to give you a little background of our Chemist Club. It was founded in 1898, founded by a group of individuals who went and studied chemistry in Germany, in Berlin. They came back to the US to work in industry, start their own companies, and get into academia. Some of these individuals were H.R. Squibb, Leo Baekeland, founder of Bakelite, ultimately Union Carbide, Morris Loeb, Frederick Chandler. And what they wanted to do was to duplicate what was then in Berlin, the Hoffman House, a place where chemists can get together socially and enjoy each other in different ways, exchanging their scientific ideas. Chemist Club on 41st Street was built to be 16 floors high. The top 3 floors were labs, and the individuals could sit there over dinner and after dinner, go upstairs and actually do the experiments. It had 10 floors of bedrooms for those that wanted to stay the night or take corporate suites for the entire year. And it had 3 dining rooms, a lounge, and the world's top library. That library is now housed in Philadelphia as the Chemist Club Optimal Library. The Chemist Club focuses in 3 main areas, looking to demystify what the industry offers today to all the individuals. The first is for students, and helping students figure out where the career placement is, where the opportunities are, and how to better society. The second is for young professionals, in order to help guide them in their careers to make better choices for themselves and for the companies that they work with. The third is for regular members, looking to explore the new opportunities that the world has to offer and how to implement them in everyday society. I was very fortunate as a student to become a member of the Chemist Club, and at that time, I met Mr. Arthur Kavaler. He was then the editor of Chemical Marketing Reporter, which is now ICIS, our sponsor of this event. Arthur embraced me and taught me everything there was about the industry. He was a mentor and a great, great individual to have drinks with, have dinners with, and meet with often. Arthur had a major impact on the chemical industry, and it was sad to hear when he passed away in 2012, at which time I was then the Chemist Club president. I got a hold of ICIS and Arthur's daughter, Andrea Kavaler, and we decided to put in his honor the Kavaler Award, which is the only award in the industry that the peers vote for the winner. So it's a peer vote for a peer award. The best description of Arthur was done at the 2016 Kavaler Award by then CEO Chairman of Dow Chemical, Andrew Liveris. Andrew said, quote, "In this society where all news is breaking news, where fiction and fantasy are our new reality, Arthur set a standard we should all emulate." It's perfect words of those of us who are fortunate to have Arthur Kavaler in our lives. I would also like to thank our founding partner sponsor, the Valence Group of Piper Sandler. I would like to now introduce the CEO of ICIS, Mr. Dean Curtis, for a few words and a congratulatory talk for our winner, 2020 Kavaler Awardee, Mr. Amin Nasser.
Thank you, Roland, and of course the Chemist Club and Andrea Kavaler. It's always an honour for ICIS to be involved in recognising success in our industry, and I can't think of a year where this has been more apt and fitting. Last year, Bob Patel spoke about the challenges we face and the changes we should make to promote our industry more positively to ensure our purpose is clear and we can attract the very best talent to define our future. As an industry, we often forget how we touch some of the most important issues of our time, and I believe we all too often ignore or downplay the importance of this great industry, our role in the world and the significant impact we have on society, including world trade, supply chain and sustainability. Therefore, I thank you all and your teams for the great work that you continue to do under the most challenging of circumstances. The chemical industry continues to play a significant role in both the prevention and recovery from COVID-19. IPA, ethanol, caustic soda, obvious things like face mask materials, hygiene packaging, There are many examples where our industry has been agile, resilient, and like humankind come together and stepped up and pivoted to support the fight. And we should all feel very proud of this. Thank you. To continue the tradition of this worthy award in honour of the great Arthur Kavaler, usually we would be together in New York celebrating success. We continue to be resilient and agile as we have been over the past 11 months, and as a result, like many areas of our lives, we will switch to a digital experience. And I'm delighted that our audience will be more global as a result, despite the change in format. It also provides an opportunity to hear from past recipients and industry colleagues. I hope these elements will continue. Our spirit will not be diminished, and we continue to celebrate success and indeed connect as an industry when it has never been so important to do so. So thank you all for joining us today. Many of you will be aware the Kavaler Award is given each year to a senior executive recognised for outstanding achievement, as voted on by his or her peers in the ICIS Top 40 Power Players, a global ranking of the leaders making the greatest positive impact on their companies and the chemical industry, and published in the ICIS Chemical Business magazine. It's the participation of this diverse group of leaders in the global chemical industry that makes the Kavaler Award so unique. In the award selection process, ICIS and the Chemist Club invite each of the ICIS Top 40 Power Players in last year's ranking to vote for 3 of their peers based on newsworthy achievements in one or more of the following categories: profitability and shareholder value, ESG, environmental, social and governance, innovation, M&A and special projects. It is my honour to congratulate this year's winner. Led by President and CEO Amin Nasser, Aramco has made huge advances in petrochemicals, with the $69 billion acquisition of SABIC to boost its downstream polymers and specialty chemicals business. This involves the global downstream expansion plans and the ongoing development of crude oil to chemicals technology. The company's global ambitions and investments will create waves in the chemical industry for years to come. And never before has this long-term aspiration and vision been so important during this short-term uncertainty. Congratulations, Mr. Nasser, and the team at Aramco. We will now hear from some of our esteemed previous recipients and key leaders from the global chemical industry.
Good evening. It's hard to believe it has been a year since we were together for this event in New York. Since that time, so much has happened, so much has changed. A global pandemic, a global recession, a collapse in oil prices. Events that have presented challenges that were almost unimaginable 12 months ago. During this time of unprecedented turbulence, we've seen the importance of leaders who can keep a strong hand on the wheel of execution while maintaining a steady, determined, and watchful eye on the horizon. Nobody has embodied this more than our friend and colleague, Amin Nasser. Amin, your list of accomplishments is long, and this honor is very well deserved. I think I speak for all of our industry colleagues when I say we would have preferred to be with you in person, to recognize your accomplishments and contributions, celebrate, and shake your hand. But until we are all together again, please accept my warmest congratulations on this honor.
I want to congratulate my good friend Amin Nasser for winning the 2020 Kavaler Award. It's remarkable that a man who is at heart an upstreamer in the oil business, which is at the beginning of the hydrocarbon value chain, is awarded by the people who are at the other side of that value chain. I have known Amin as a professional and as a visionary member of the Aramco executive team. I have always admired his strong character, his relentless work ethic, his empathy, his humility, and his incessant drive for results. How many business executives have been faced with the opportunities and challenges that Amin has in the last 2 years, from the successful Aramco IPO to the acquisition of SABIC, to dealing with horrendous attacks against Aramco facilities, to steering the company during this difficult COVID-19 era. Amin, You make us all proud. God bless you.
It is truly my honor to recognize the President and CEO of Saudi Aramco, the world's largest integrated oil and petrochemicals company, Amin Nasser, in his receipt of the ICIS Kavaler Award for this year. How much of a thrill is it for me as a previous recipient of the award to stand here and to actually acknowledge the contributions of Amin as he takes Saudi Aramco into its future. A future that is promising and bright as the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia fulfills Vision 2030, diversifying its energy capabilities, really moving into the world of 2050 and beyond as a responsible, sustainable enterprise, and of course now publicly listed. The board of Saudi Aramco is a vibrant board, one that engages very, very closely on the strategy of the company that Amin has been leading now for the last many years. Amin is a wonderful human being. He's a family man, he's truly a professional, and his calmness and his ability to steer through all the uncertainties of the pandemic, of collapsing oil prices, and of course to put in place this incredible strategy is something to behold. Amin, I am very, very proud to serve on the board of Saudi Aramco, serving of course this great enterprise, and to being your colleague and friend for many, many, many years. Congratulations, Amin, well deserved.
Hello, this is Chuck Bunch, retired chairman and CEO of PPG, and I just wanted to offer my sincere congratulations to Amin Nasser on his well-deserved recognition by the Chemist Club and your selection as this year's recipient of the Kavaler Award. I was honored to be the first recipient of this prestigious award in 2013, and it meant a great deal to me because it is voted on by our peers in the industry. Traditionally, this award is honored at an in-person dinner in New York. But due to the pandemic, I must offer my congratulations through this video message. Amin, clearly your peers have recognized your industry leadership, and I wish you and all of your colleagues at Saudi Aramco much continued success. Congratulations again, and enjoy the evening.
Amin, it is my honor and privilege to be part of the celebration of you winning the 2020 Kavaler Award. There is no recognition more meaningful than peer recognition, and I am deeply proud and happy for you to earn this award. Your chemical industry peers had their reasons to vote you to win this award in 2020. What I see is your passion for your business, your compassion for your employees, your care for the environment, your respect for your customers and your other stakeholders, and your commitment to your shareholders. I am deeply proud of you to win the Kavaler Award and be part of the celebration for you this year in 2020, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you.
I'd like to thank everyone for their kind words and congratulating the 2020 Chemist Club Kavaler Awardee. And now I would like to invite Peter Hall from the Valence Group of Piper Sandler as he introduces our awardee, Mr. Amin Nasser.
Amin, it's a pleasure and an honor to be with you today, albeit virtually. Obviously, it's a shame that we can't all be together in a room as we normally would be for the Kavaler Award. It's also been great to see some of the well wishes come in from some of the former winners of the award, Bob, Andrew, Chuck. The Kavaler Award, I think, is a very important award. The winner of the Kavaler Award is not just randomly selected by an investment banker like me or by a sponsor. The winner is selected by a vote of the CEOs of the major chemical companies of the industry. And there can be no greater accolade than having your peers, and let's face it, your competitors, recognize you as the shining light of the industry in the last 12 months. In speaking to your peers in the industry and asking them why it was that they decided to vote for you as the award winner, there were some common themes that came out. And those themes were really around the fact that you have successfully navigated many, many challenges on many, many different levels during the last 12 months. To state the obvious, the last 12 months have been unprecedented for any CEO of any company given the COVID crisis. But you've dealt with not just that, but on a financial level, you've dealt with unprecedented volatility in energy pricing. On a strategic level, you've made some major moves to reposition Aramco for the long term as not just an energy company, but also as a downstream chemical producer. From a shareholding perspective, you successfully IPO'd the company, and as an investment banker, I know only too well what a monumental challenge it is to bring a company to an IPO. But also importantly, on an operational basis, you have had to deal with some unprecedented challenges. And I'm not just talking about the logistical challenges of COVID. I'm talking about some of the impacts that you had to deal with earlier in the year. Seeing how those plants were successfully and safely decommissioned and then successfully brought back online in record time with no impact whatsoever for your international customer base, I think really is a testament to your foresight and leadership in preparing Aramco for frankly anything that the world could have thrown at it. I always say that the energy and chemical industry is absolutely central to so many value chains within the global economy. And in a very similar way, Aramco is absolutely central to so many value chains within the chemical industry. So I feel confident in saying that your peers have voted for you because they've taken great comfort from knowing that your safe pair of hands have been on the tiller at Aramco throughout this incredibly unprecedented last 12 months. So I mean, on behalf of the Chemist Club, ICIS, myself and the Valence Group, but most importantly, your peers and the CEOs of the chemicals industry, congratulations on the Kavaler Award for the Chemical Industry CEO of the Year 2020.
Thank you, Peter. And now we'd like to welcome everyone to our virtual fireside chat with our 2020 Kavaler Award winner, Mr. Amin Nasser, President and CEO of Aramco. I'm Joe Chang, Global Editor of ICIS Chemical Business, and I'll be moderating this session along with Roland Stefandl, President of the Chemist Club. Welcome, Amin, and congratulations.
Thank you, Joe. I would like to thank you, Joe and Ronald. It is a pleasure to join you today, and I would like to thank ICIS, the Chemist Club, the Valence Group of Piper Sandler, and my peer CEOs for this recognition. I am proud to accept it on behalf of the thousands of men and women of Saudi Aramco who are showing great determination and resilience in a year that has been unlike any in our lifetime. This is definitely their award too. If you allow me, I would like to convey my thoughts and sympathies to millions of people around the world who continue to fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. But despite COVID and all its challenges, our work is going on at Aramco. We have continued to pursue our long-term strategy to be a bigger player in chemicals through projects here in the kingdom and around the world. In fact, the progress we have made is just the beginning of a major transformation, positioning Aramco for the future. Our strong upstream position offers us a very strong foundation for our downstream ambitions, and our technology investment focus has created a number of breakthroughs as we seek to produce higher value products at scale, at a lower cost, and with lower emissions. Our mission is to make our products cleaner and support a cleaner future for our planet. So, for the vote of confidence from ICIS, the Chemist Club, and my fellow CEOs, I thank you for this recognition.
Well, thank you, Amin. And I guess, the Kavaler Award obviously related to chemicals, but I can't help but ask the first question related to oil. As you mentioned, your upstream business sets a strong foundation for your downstream ambitions. So what do you see for the short-term outlook for the oil market?
Thank you, Joe. April definitely was by far the worst month for our industry, when oil demand fell to roughly 80 million barrels per day, from slightly over 100 million barrels in 2019. Such a massive drop was never seen at any time in the industry. As you know, prices in the US fell to minus $40 for various reasons, such as demand or lack of storage, but also, thank goodness, it recovered fairly quickly. And I believe the worst is behind us. At this moment, there is a recovery taking place. This is a reflection based on the recent gains that we have seen in the oil market. But there is still some uncertainty due to COVID-19 waves, especially in Europe and the US. But China and several countries in Asia are showing good signs of recovery. Of course, the recent announcement of the development of vaccines have been very encouraging for our industry and for the whole world. And if effective vaccines can be deployed widely, I think we can expect a better recovery in the oil market in the second half of 2021. We are still in the tunnel, but I believe we can now see more light at the end of the tunnel. However, as we anticipate a recovery, a key concern is the decline that we are seeing in investment in oil exploration and development for a number of reasons. Many producers around the world in different parts are facing financial pressures and higher cost portfolios. As economies and demand recover gradually, we may also see supply being constrained.
Wonderful. Thank you. And our next question from Roland.
Thank you, Joe. From oil, we will now move to chemicals. Amin, can you please elaborate on Aramco's chemical strategy going forward? And does the price in oil, be it lower or higher, change that strategy at all? And if so, how?
Thank you, Roland. If we look at future growth in oil demand, petrochemicals are definitely expected to play a major role. In fact, over the coming decade, we expect about half of the growth in the oil demand is likely to come from petrochemicals. So we expect chemicals to be a major growth area for our industry. And we will convert in Saudi Aramco a significant part of our production into petrochemicals over the next 2 decades. We also expect a large growth in our refining business, and our strategy is for further integration of petrochemicals with our refining asset base. Although we are seeing a number of companies announcing global refinery rationalization or shutdowns in Europe, the US, and some scale back in Asia, we still see opportunities in certain geographies. We expect more than half of the world new refining capacity that will come on stream over the next 8 to 10 years will be in Asia. And 70 to 80% of that will be focused mainly on plastics. Another growth area for us is non-metallic materials. These materials can substitute for high carbon emission materials in major sectors like construction, housing, automotive, and renewables. Corrosion, if you look at corrosion, for example, is a major issue and is estimated to have a global economic impact of around $2 trillion. But we see polymer rebar can be used to reinforce concrete and is a good resistant for corrosion. In fact, Aramco started recently using glass fiber reinforced polymer composite rebar in concrete as a concrete reinforcement instead of steel. This was utilized as a pilot in some of our projects, and we are seeing good result. With regard to prices, as you highlighted in the strategy, when prices are low, especially now with the impact of COVID, some adjustments have to be made, at least for the short term. But we remain firm on our long-term focus on creating value through growth and investment. And we continue to evaluate and pursue a number of opportunities here in the kingdom and around the world in countries like China and India.
Thank you, Amin. Joe.
Wonderful. Amin, and actually that leads well into the next question because, we'd like to get an update on the potential chemical projects that you're considering and on a geographic basis. And would crude oil to chemicals play a role in this?
Well, yes, definitely. We are considering more chemicals to be added or integrated to our existing asset. These integration efforts involve our refining base in the kingdom and also globally, such as in Motifa in the US. This is our refinery there. In crude to chemicals, we have made good progress in the development of the technologies. The pilot phase and thermal technology has been completed, and we are moving now to the next phase. And with industry consensus that half of the growth, as I highlighted earlier, in oil demand will come from petrochemical, our strategy is to position oil to chemical in playing a major role.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Amin, earlier this year, you completed the acquisition of SABIC. How does that fit into your chemical strategy going forward? And do you see any additional M&A possibly down the road in your strategy?
That was for sure a big step. We see SABIC as transformational for us and a key enabler to deliver on Aramco's chemical strategy. SABIC has the global footprint, marketing presence, and asset in numerous countries, which will allow us to capitalize on opportunities. If you combine our upstream strength and refining capacity of more than 5 million barrels per day with SABIC chemical asset base and global presence, has made us one of the top global chemical players. In 2019, the combined petrochemical production of both Aramco and SABIC is around 90 million tons. So the rationale for this acquisition is very clear to us. With chemicals expected to play an increasingly bigger role in oil demand growth in the future, we anticipate most of the growth to come from developing countries where population growth is and where living standards are rising. If you take a look at India, for example, just over 20 people out of 1,000 own a car. And it's about 170 in China for every 1,000. In the US and the UK, it's around 830 and 580 per 1,000. So even if you assume that the US and the UK numbers cannot be reached, there is still certainly significant growth potential. With that in mind, Aramco is scaling up thermal and catalytic crude to chemicals technologies with the aim of achieving oil to chemical conversion rate of 70% or higher. So you can see how the strategies pieces of our global chemical business is coming together with Aramco's upstream position, large refining base, crude to chemical technology development, and SABIC. Add all of these together, you would know where we are heading in this important growth segment. As for M&As, SABIC is a significant transaction, and we are currently working on the integration program with Aramco. We are not ruling out any good opportunities that come our way in the future. And let me add that we continue to evaluate and look at a number of opportunities in major growth markets like China and India as part of our long-term strategy.
Thank you. Joe.
Great. Amin, well, moving on to our next question, we'll look at the financing market. And Aramco recently completed an $8 billion bond offering. Can you talk about what that proceeds would be used for and the rationale behind that capital raise?
Joe, the latest transactions comes more than a year after our first bond issue in April of last year. This time, despite the impact of COVID-19, we still attracted a large number of new investors, and the issue was oversubscribed 10 times, generating almost over $50 billion. Interest was strong that we made us expand the offering to $8 billion from $5 billion. Also, it's worth noting that for the first time, a 50-year tranche drew lots of interest globally. And I believe that clearly demonstrates investor confidence in Saudi Aramco's long-term value and prospects. This transaction marks another step in our journey to develop an even deeper relationship with debt investors. That was our objective with our inaugural bond last year, and also this time. We intend also to continue to target a gearing range of about 5 to 15% over the cycles, and we have a strong balance sheet, and we continue to manage well through this unprecedented downturn.
Great, thank you.
Amin, everyone knows 2020 has been a difficult year, but how has Aramco dealt with the COVID pandemic locally and globally? And what lessons have you learned as a leader going into 2021?
No doubt, COVID-19 is by far the biggest black swan event of our lifetime, having the biggest impact on businesses and on our lives in every way, from the way we work and on our social lives. Our experience has taught us that early planning and preparation very critical. As soon as the news about COVID-19 outbreak started, we geared up on our response and control measures in early February. We formed a cross-functional team here in the company. That task force included our medical JV, which we had formed with Johns Hopkins Medicine in 2013. To deal with COVID-19, we immediately also focused on expanding resources for isolation wards, ICUs, critical equipment, and essential medical supplies. At our plants, where everybody works 24/7, we took stringent measures, not only with employees, but also with our contractors. Our priority during all of this is people, their safety, and well-being. Also, our supply chain experienced minimal effect. We worked closely with our partners here in the Kingdom and globally, and as many of them have operation here in the Kingdom, we managed to limit any major disruptions to our supply chain related to our project and operations. Reading the early warning sign, anticipating and preparing was absolutely vital for us in dealing with the pandemic. And maintaining employee morale was also very important for us. For that reason, we have conducted regular field visits to meet our people at our operating facilities. Truly, our employees have demonstrated great strength, resilience, and agility all this time, and I'm very proud of them.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Amin, for our final question, from the impact of COVID and also in light of all the discussions around the transition to green energy, how do you see the long-term outlook for the petroleum industry?
As you know, energy transition is a key topic these days in any discussion of the future of energy. At Aramco, we recognize the new energy sources will play an important role in creating a sustainable energy future. However, we also believe that the global energy transition will be gradual. COVID-19 has prompted a lot of debate and discussion that the sun has set again on the oil and gas industry, that oil demand has peaked or is close to happening. But in my view, the reality is that conventional and new energy sources will run in parallel for many decades to come. We know that alternatives will improve with time. They are picking up. But if you look at heavy transport like trucks, planes, ships, petrochemicals, and many other industrial uses, there is simply no viable substitute for oil. That's why the oil and gas industry has a key role in the road to lower emission. So I believe oil as well as gas will remain critical part of the world's energy mix and the global economy for decades. At the same time, climate protection is at the top of our priorities and receives our highest attention. Of course, we should keep in mind other priorities that are also important. A good example is there is 850 million people still do not have access to electricity. and 2.5 billion people do not have access to proper cooking fuel. So as a result of household air pollution, in large part because of cooking smoke, there are 2.5 million premature deaths a year. So related to vaccines and which highlighted by the companies that are going to be distributing these vaccines, the storage is a big issue because it requires certain temperatures, and it is definitely a major concern in developing countries due to the lack of proper or reliable energy systems. Access to energy and reliable energy system are extremely critical to ensure global priorities and challenges are addressed adequately. And a key strategy for us here in Aramco is to produce oil and related products, but with lower emissions. There is, that's why we continue our investment and we remain, this investment will remain at the core of what we are doing here in Aramco. It's part of our strategy, why we are also steadily building a cleaner energy portfolio. We are also expanding our gas portfolio, and our unconventional gas program is making very good progress. It will yield also lots of liquid, which will in turn help us to push our chemical program. We are also investing in blue hydrogen and actively supporting the Kingdom Renewable Energy Program. So, Joe, I see a future where oil will be produced with much lower emission, capitalizing a lot on technologies, and I do see a bright future ahead for the petroleum industry. I see it as part of the global energy mix for decades to come, and that immense contribution will be made without economic and social harm that sudden shift from oil and gas would likely cause.
Great, thank you. And I just invite you for any final remarks.
Well, Joe and Roland, I thank you both. Thank ICIS, the Chemist Club, and the Valiance Group of Piper Sandler for this opportunity to speak in detail about Aramco's long-term strategy, especially our downstream plans. I enjoyed our conversation today, and best wishes for 2021. Stay safe and well. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to thank Amin Nasser and Saudi Aramco and the SABIC Group for their kind words today. And here we are on December 3rd of a very unique year, 2020. And as the sun sets in the kingdom on December 3rd, it rises in New York City. And I'd like to really give a big, big thanks for putting this program together to ICIS, the Chemist Club, the 2020 Chemist Club Kavaler Awardee, Amin Nasser, and to everybody else here, including the Valiance Group of Piper Sandler. And with that, everyone, please have a very, very joyous holiday and all the best in 2021. Thank you from Roland to the Chemist Club.